We're live at the International Conference Center at Abakaliki, Ebonyi State on this day, the 20th day of March 2023, to participate in the Peace for Free lecture series for the Southeastern Geographical Zone of Nigeria with the theme Sustainable Peace Beyond Election. Peace for Free is a civil society group committed to promoting unconditional peace for national cohesion and development in Nigeria. My name is Imanwubola Chioma Sharon, reporting for DMI TV. Okay, so what's your expectation from today's lectures?
I'm expecting a lot. After this presidential election, I know most of the youths are so aggrieved. I believe these are the reasons why this initiative is being planned.
So you think peace is required at this point to consolidate our democratic journey in Nigeria?
Absolutely, 100%. That is the way to go. I think so.
So what's your good new messages to Nigeria in these trying times?
Thank you very much. I am happy you said trying times. It is indeed a trying times. You see, it's a process. Democratic process is a long journey. Even up to tomorrow, as a matter of fact, America is still grappling with stuff like this. Our democracy is still nascent, it's still very, very young. And we have to continue to be patient and continue to be progressive in nature in terms of learning the process. It is not our culture.
We are here today to let the whole world know, the whole Nigeria, that we need peace. We don't need violence in the country.
Okay, so you agree with us that peace is needed at this point in Nigeria?
Not just me. I believe everyone should agree with that. Understand? We don't need the violence. We just need peace. With peace, we achieve everything we need.
So do you think peace is required at this point to consolidate our democratic journey in Nigeria?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Where there is no peace, things don't work. You understand? Peace is my watchword for everything. We've seen the outcome of the election. We have the winners and we have the losers, and we've seen how everything is panning out. We believe in our democracy, and we believe in good governance. With this thing now, it will really send a signal of what we want or how we want Nigeria to be.
I'm expecting a lot, because peace is the most tangible thing in our country, and to get peace and be educated about peace is the most important thing.
We are very pleased sincerely to welcome you, our distinguished guests, to this important assembly of people of Ebonyi State on this special peace building occasion. The first of its kind in the democratic process and history of Nigeria. There is no doubt that this year's elections so far have generated a lot of public attention, particularly from Nigerian youths, who are remarkably increasing their political participation in our collective struggle for good governance, unlike other times in the past. In every situation of conflict, there are always a few people working for peace. And the Peace for Free initiative is committed to the ideal of fostering peace across Nigeria. This is why we are spreading the gospel of peace through this new national advocacy project happening today here in Abakaliki, the Ebonyi State capital. We are therefore soliciting for your collective commitment to unconditional peace in Nigeria, now and beyond. Great Nigerian students, great Nigerian students, greatest Nigerian students. I don't want to do the go and back down. God bless you and thanks for coming.
Peace, by the way, is not the absence of conflict. Peace does not mean we cannot disagree or we don't have divergent views. We can have all of that. We can have differing opinions. We can support different political candidates and political parties. But we can do all of that in a peaceful atmosphere. So for me, I am convinced, and I'm supremely convinced too, that our differences are even the reason why we should have peace. And there were calls before now that perhaps the elections should be postponed, the elections should be shifted. Some even called for an interim government to ensure that all of these are done away before elections are conducted. But the resilience of Nigerians and the commitment that each and every one of us showed proved that in spite of an atmosphere that threatened our democracy, we could overcome all of that and make our choices in an electoral process. This is the situation that young Nigerians defied. They defied this situation because they felt if elections are put off, they will not have an opportunity to select their leaders. Those who cast their votes, the young people, they casted their votes because they want a better life. They were making the choices of the various people they voted for because they believed these people had the capacity to give them a better life. And this is what we all did. And when we elected or voted for these leaders, we had an expectation that in turn they would deliver good governance unto us. After all, the future of this country belongs to the young people who trooped out in their numbers to make their votes and their voices to count. This is what we did. And given this background of what we did, by going into an election with an expectation of a better life for ourselves, with an expectation that our tomorrow, which we were investing in, is going to be better than our today. That is the hope that made us, in spite of the daunting challenges of insecurity, we went into this election. And the outcome of the election is here with us today. Let's not forget, irrespective of the outcome of the election, what we want is a better life. What we want is that the dividends of democracy should be given to each and every one of us in our spaces, wherever we find ourselves. But sadly, there have been some calls and there have been some pockets of violence here and there. This violence have the tendency to disrupt and perhaps kill that hope of a better tomorrow if we allow them to continue. And that is why we consider it expedient, the convener of this Peace for Free initiative, that we should come out and have an interaction with young people like yourselves to make you understand that the hope and the zeal, the enthusiasm that you went into the election with, and what you voted for can only be achieved if we have peace in our communities. Without peace in our communities, that hope of a better life will be impossible for us to achieve. If we say development cannot take place without an atmosphere of peace, and I'm asking you, my distinguished participants, what do you think are the things that break the peace in our communities?
One is intolerance, because even the family as one of the agents of a society, when there is no tolerance, there will be no peace.
Thank you.
One thing that separates peace is tribalism.
One of the things that can take away peace of any nation or country is bribery and corruption. When we see something that is very glaring, something that is white, when we collect bribe, we turn that into black. It can take away the peace of the environment.
Thank you. All the answers were very apt and they were very straight to the point, and they addressed the issues that threaten our peace. We must also recognize that with all that we have said that can break our peace, that can make us, take up arms against each other, what then do you consider as the recipe? What then do you consider as the answers? What can we do so that we can have that peace and have it more abundantly?
Number one is justice.
Thank you very much.
Answer to your question is love. When we begin to love ourselves, our country, and ourselves, we have peace.
Thank you. Thank you.
One of the things that can bring peace is non-discrimination.
One of the things that can bring peace is when we shun violence.
Thank you. All the points that have been made, they are true to what we will take away. Collectively, we have today decided that in Ebonyi State, beyond the 2023 general elections, we have resolved that we will live among ourselves in peace, and that peace should be based on love, it will be based on equality, it will be based on justice, it will be based on non-partiality, it will be based above all on our cultural values that we hold dear. All of this cannot be achieved without an atmosphere of social justice. Let peace sustain and remain in our homes, in our communities, and in our dear country. I thank you very much for your kind attention.
What do you have to take home from the program today?
Now the election have ended now. That us as a youth should raise that peace in us, despite that, okay, maybe our candidate didn't win or the thing didn't turn out right for us, that we should just continue with the peace so that it can lead us to what we want.
The major thing that I'm taking home today is that there is need for us to coexist with each other without any rancor or acrimony. That is just it. We need to tolerate ourselves, we need to love ourselves, we need to build a nation where peace and justice will reign. You understand? So as I'm going home, I am going to spread the joy to every other person around me that this is what it's supposed to be.
This series is meant to subtly nudge the people, especially the young people who invested their time and energy to come out to cast their ballot. And at the end of the day, they are expressing displeasure from the outcome of the election, which is contestable. It is alleged that maybe there are malpractice or whatever. That is their opinion, and it must be respected. And in an atmosphere of distrust and alleged conceived malpractices, there is tendencies that if it is not checked, it might degenerate and cause chaos. So what we are doing, we are being proactive as a civil society organization to move in to talk to people, to tell them that whatever happens, elections or no election, there will always be Nigeria. And it is the living that will live in Nigeria, not the dead.
One thing I know is that when correction is coming into a system, it comes in different ways. In as much as we want to see INEC from that angle, I believe that the hand of God is also involved in what is happening now. And peace is a process, okay? Development, for us to achieve that which we wish, is a process that we have to understand. And if we quietly sit together in a platform as beautiful as this and hear people that are bigger and more exposed than us talk to us, it gives us a better idea on how to follow up in such unpleasant situation. So we should just calm down, embrace peace. This kind of platform is a welcome development here in Nigeria, because if we've had such forum, we would have known by now how to handle it, not going through violence. That is not the way out at all.
Well, the Peace for Free lecture series is conceived on the basis of the aftermath of the 2023 general elections in our country. The elections threw up some issues and certain conflicts that had the tendency to disrupt the peace in our country. So the organizers of this Peace for Free lecture series feel that it is important for us to embark on a nationwide peace building initiative. That is why we are in Ebonyi State, Abakaliki specifically, to have an interaction with the residents, particularly the youths of Abakaliki, to help build and sustain the peace beyond elections. If you were part of the lecture, part of the takeaways from the lecture is that we should build a society that is inclusive, that is anchored on social justice. So when we have social justice, it presupposes that each and every one of us is respected, our fundamental human rights are respected, our rights to employment opportunities are there is inclusiveness, and everybody is carried along in decision making and in the distribution of resources.